Good morning. Welcome back. Last class we did objects. Today we'll start with array as class data member. So what is a data member? The data members which is declared inside a class, the variables or a constant, that is, it can be anything declared inside a class as a part of the class is the data member which is used for storing data. So array can be used as a data member. Here in the code module you see that we have declared an integer array A of maximum of 100 integer length, that is, it can store up to maximum of 100 integers. And what is an array? Array is a set of elements or a group of elements of the same type under same name. So let us write this program to read and to declare an array and read and write an one dimensional array using a class, where array is a part of the class. So how do we start? We start with hash include iostream.h hash include conio.h. Then let me name the class as array. Here say you don't have a keyword called array here. Array is a concept, it's a data type, but then you don't declare the data type using array as a keyword. Array is not a keyword, so I can name it as a class name. Array. So private. Again it is to be noted that P is in lower case, don't put it in uppercase. Private, let me write an integer array, integer ARR, this is lowercase, of maximum 30 integers length. I have I and N. Okay. How many data members this class has? It has 3 data members, that is array, I and N. Then in the public I have void read array and void display. Fine. 2 function I have. These are called function declaration. I am declaring 2 functions. One is read array, one is display. The first one is without arguments, without return. This also is without arguments and without return. Here my class ends. So the number of data members in the class are 3 and member functions are 2. This is the function array. Now I will write the definition of this. How do I write it outside? The return type of the function, name of the class it belongs to, scope resolution operator and name of the function. Open the bracket, cout, enter the number of, elements in the array. C in N. I am taking the number of elements. See, I have declared an array of 30 means maximum of 30 elements it can have. It is not compulsory that it should have all the 30. So I am asking the user how many elements do you have. So N is the variable which stores the number of elements in the array. After that, cout, enter the array elements. I am asking the user to enter the array elements. So since it's an array, I will put it in a loop for I is equal to 0, because array subscript start from 0, I less than n. that is 0 to n minus 1 is the number of elements I plus plus C in ARR of I. Similarly, how do I print the array elements? How do I print? I'll close my function here. Next is, I will write, anyway my function got closed here. Now I have to write the display function. What is the return type? Void. The class to which it belongs to is array. Scope resolution operator. Display. This is void over here. Okay. Void, array, and scope resolution operator and display. So cout array elements are I plus plus cout ARR of I, and this is the end of my function. So I have written for this also the taking in the values. After that, to display cout array elements are, and then in a new line you will have the array elements I is 0 to n ARR of I. This completes my class, because I ended here, but I have written the definitions of two functions. Now void main. I have to create an object, that is array of a dot read array and a dot display. Have a look. A program to read and write a one-dimensional array where array is a part of the class. What have I done? I have declared a class array. As I said, array is not a keyword. Then int ARR of 30, it means that I have an array ARR which can store maximum of 30 characters, and then int n. Void read array and void display. These are the two member functions of the class array, and there are 3 data variables. Then you have, I have closed my class here and terminated it with a semicolon. Outside I am writing, how do I write the definition of the function outside? Return type of the function, name of the class to which it belongs to, scope resolution operator, and name of the function. So enter the number of elements in the array. I am taking in C in array here. So I am taking in the C in n. After that, cout enter the array elements. I am taking in the array elements. I am using a loop because more than one time I need to take. This ends my for loop and this ends my function. I am not putting a semicolon because it is a function, not a class. Then I have to write the display function. The return type of display is void. The name of the class to which belongs to is array, and display. Here I am just displaying the elements what the user has entered. After that, void main. To access the data or to access the functions of the class, I need to create an instance of it, and I am creating an object here. How do I create an object? Class name space the object name, and then object dot the member function will invoke, or it will execute the function. These two are the statements. First I will read and then I will display. Have a look of this. So hopefully you have understood this. Next we will go to objects, classes and memory. Like how much memory would be allocated for an object, a class, and what are they, and how do you find that? A class declaration does not allocate memory to the class. So just I'm creating a class will not allocate memory to it. Only when I declare an object, that is when I create an object for the class, memory would be allocated to the class. And memory is always in the, I think last class also I have said this, memory is allocated only for the data members, not for the member functions. Okay. Before this, let me tell you about the operator, one operator called the size of. Everything in lowercase, and you need to pass the data type as an argument to it. So it will give you how many bytes of memory would be required to store that. For example, if I say size of int, it will give me 2 bytes. That is, I need 2 bytes to store an integer. Similarly, size of char will give me 1 byte, because 1 byte is required to store 1 character. Size of, there is no space, everything is in lowercase. The same way, if I say size of, as we all know, a class is a user defined data type. Size of class name, whichever class you have created. Like for example, in the previous one, what was the name of the class? Array. So it will be size of array. What will it give me? What were the data members of that? It had 3 members. One is an integer array, ARR of 30 was there, and then int I comma n. These were the data members. So how many bytes would be required? 60 bytes would be required to store this, and 2 plus 2, 4. So 64 bytes will be the answer to that. That is, size of is an operator which will give you, when argument passed to it would be a data type, and it will give you how many bytes of memory would be required to store it. And size of everything is in lowercase. Same way here also you have to pass the object or the class to the size of. And one more thing which you have to remember is, only when you create an object for the class, memory would be allocated, and memory would be allocated only to the data members, not to the member functions of the class. So let us study one example. What do we have? I have a class called student. What is the name of the class? Student. In the private, I have how many data members? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 data members are there, wherein long is also does not have the decimal or the fraction part, and then character name, which is a string, char combi is also a string, int marks, and char address, which is also a string again. So these are the data members of the student. Long, how many bytes it requires? It requires 4 bytes of memory. Char of 20 characters, like each character requires 1 byte, so it will be total 20 bytes of memory. Character combination, again 4 bytes, because each byte each character is 1 byte, and int marks is 2 bytes, and char address is 30 bytes. So add these together, it is 60 bytes. Together it is 60 bytes. And for this, do I allocate any memory? There are 2 functions, read data and display. No, the memory is not allocated to the member functions, it is allocated only to the data member. So when you are finding how many bytes of memory would be required, you need to calculate for individual element and then add it up. The next one is void main. In that, What am I doing? I am creating an object in this statement, correct? How many objects am I creating? S1 and S2. Two objects I am creating. So again S1 will have a separate set of memory allocated to it, and S2 also will have separately memory allocated to it. So S1, size of S1, this is the size of operator, and what is S1? You are passing S1 to it. So it will tell you how many bytes of memory would be required for S1. Similar way S2, and here I am directly passing the class itself, like how many bytes of memory once the object is created I would need to store the class. So here the size of S1 is 60, 60 and 60. We calculated how we got 60 there. So it will be individually calculate for the data members and add it up. That will be the memory required for that. So this states that whether you send the object or the class, the memory required for the object or the class of the same type, like object and class, the object of the same class will require same amount of memory, that is 60 bytes, 60 bytes and 60 bytes. Have a look. Now we will do array of objects. So what is an array? It is a homogeneous set of elements, that is the collection of elements of the same type. So a collection of elements can also be possible. Till now we did integer array, character array, which is nothing but a string, float array. So we have done that. Now let us do array of objects. So an array having class type elements. So what is the data type of the object? It's a class type element. Class is a user defined data type. Defined type, and class type elements is known as an array of objects. Array of objects is declared after definition and defined in the same way as any other array. So we will first learn why do I need it. Okay, why do I need it? Last, if you remember, 2 classes before, when I was explaining classes and objects, I said I need to have the details of the student, and the details are same, that is the registration number, name and the course of a student. But then there are more than one student, that is like I have 50 students wherein I need to store the same data, that is the name of the student, like registration number, name and course. I need to store this data for all the 50 students. What I can do is I can put this in a class with member functions which will take in those values and display it. But I cannot create 50 different objects because each object will store the data of one student. So if I have to have data of 50 students, then I need to create 50 different objects. So instead of that, I can create an array of objects with size 50. Yeah, that makes more sense rather than creating 50 different objects. And another rule is you cannot have the same object, like object of the same name in one program. So that is why instead of doing that, we can just create an array of object. Here there is an example. What am I doing here? I am just creating a class called employee. So employee is a class wherein it has got 2 data members, char name, which is nothing but a string or a character array, and integer age. So how many bytes of memory would be allocated when the object is created? It will be 10 plus 2, 12 bytes of memory would be allocated for this class. And then void read data and display data are the 2 member functions which is declared in public so that I can call it from outside the class. And what am I doing here? I am creating an object. How do I create an object? The name of the class, that is employee, space the object name. I am creating 3 objects. One is supervisor, sales executive and team leader. And there are 3 supervisors in my company, 5 sales executive and 10 team leader. So each one will have a different name and different information to store. So what am I doing it? Instead of creating 3 separate objects, I am creating an array of objects. That is supervisor, and this array brackets open and close, and you give the size of the array. That is how many objects of this type you want. So it will create supervisor 3 objects and sales executive 5 objects and team lead 10 objects. So this is the array of objects. Now we'll create a student database using array of objects. That is, I am going to store details such as student registration number and name for maximum up to 50 students. So when I say maximum up to 50 students, it is not compulsory that you need to store data for all the 50 students. It can be less also, like it depends on the user. To begin with, let us start with the class. So how do I write it? Class student. Okay. Then in the private, int registration number char name of maximum 25 characters length. Then in the public, I have 2 member functions, that is void input, which will take in the values or the details, and void display, which will display the student details. This will end my class here. That is, it has 2 data members and 2 member functions. This is the member function declaration. Make a note of it. Now I will write the member function definitions. How do I do that? So return type is void, name of the class to which it belongs to is student, then scope resolution operator and the name of the function, that is input. Open it, cout, enter student registration number and name. I am asking the user to enter the student registration number and name. Cin registration number, Cin name. So my function gets over here. The next one is the display function. Void student scope resolution operator and display. Cout REGN registration number, cout enter name, this completes my display function. So I have written the code for both input as well as display functions over here. So the class had 2 data members and 2 member functions. I have taken in the values in the input function. the values of details about the registration number and the name of the student is taken, and in display I am just printing it. So this completes my class. Now I will be writing my main function. Void main int n, because I can have maximum of 50 students, but then I will give that flexibility to the user how many he wants to enter. Then I have to create an object. Std, let the object be std and of maximum 50. That is, I am creating 50 objects, right? Because I am going to store the data of 50 different students maximum. Then I will ask cout enter number of students, in n. Then I have to ask the user cout enter student details. Now I have to call it again and again n number of times. So I have to put it in a iterative loop. For I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Why am I writing an iterative loop here? Because I am taking values for more than one student. That is why it is n number of students I need to take in. And what was the function to take in the values? The input function. So std is the object, okay, dot the function, because I am taking in the values. This is std of 0 would be the first function, of 2, 1 would be the second, like that up to n minus 1 times this will run. So 0 to n minus 1 is nothing but n. Once I have taken in, I need to print those details. So cout student details for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus std. What is the name of the function here? So this is the end of main, this is the end of for. So I am calling the display and this one n number of times. So this is the array of objects. Like if I have to, without array, if I have to do means I have to create n different objects, and using those n different objects I have to call the input and the display functions. Instead of that I am calling an array, and you making use of that I am calling the functions. And how do I differentiate between the students? Depending on the subscript value, object and the subscript or the index value will give you student 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Now we will do passing objects as arguments to a function. So before that I will write one small program which will show you how to pass arguments, integer arguments I will show you, then I can relate it to the objects. Fine, we will start with integer parameters, like how do I pass the arguments, and then I will create 2 more objects for the same class, and using those I will call the same functions but enter different values. We will see when we run what would be the output. From that we will understand that concept. Fine. First let me write this simple example. Please make a note of it. So let me say the class name, let it be print. Fine, I am going to print the values. That is what I am going to do. It's a very simple program wherein I will ask the user to enter 2 values and I will print those values. So, I will say class print, then in the private section I have int x comma y, and then in the public section I will have 3 functions. Okay, one is void input, void display, and void show, and I am going to pass 2 integer values to it. This is my class. Like it has 2 variables x and y and 3 function. The first one is input. I am not passing any arguments and I am not returning any arguments. The second one is display. For display also, it is also a function without passing, without arguments. The third one is it is not returning any it is not going to return any value, but then I am going to pass 2 integer values to it. So, it will have 2 integer formal parameters, but it is not going to return anything. So, this is my function input, display and show. X and y are the data members and these are the member functions, member function declarations. So, make a note of this. We will write each one. Next is I have to define the functions. How will I do that? Void is the return type of the function. Name of the class it belongs to is print. Scope resolution operator input, and since it has no arguments I am leaving it blank. Cout, enter the values of x and y. What are x and y? These are, I have already declared integer variables. So, I am asking the user to enter the values of x and y and C in x, C in y. This completes my input function. That is, in the input function I am taking in the values of the class data members x and y. So, next is the display. Again the return type is void display, void print scope resolution operator, then display. So, return type of the function is void, name of the class to which it belongs to is print, scope resolution operator, and name of the function is display. What I am going to do? Cout, I will say x, this will be printed as it is, and then I will enter x. Cout endl. So, before the printing only it will insert a new line, then I will say y, then the actual y value. This ends my function. So, what am I doing in input? I am asking the user to enter the 2 values and I am storing it in x and y, where x and y are declared inside the class, and in the display I am just printing x is equal to this one and y is equal to this value in the new line, in each line, because endl is here. So, it will be printed one below the other. Still I am left with one more function of the class. Please have a look. Now, I will write the code for that. What was the name of the class? The name of the class was show, to which I am going to pass 2 integer values and it is not going to return anything. So, the return type was void, name of the class it belongs to is print, scope resolution operator, and what was the name of the function? Show. Argument list is there because I am going to have 2 integer values there, int a comma int b. So what are this a and b? This a and b are called formal parameters. That is the parameters in the function header. So a and b are called formal parameters. They are passed from the calling function. So here I will be calling this from main. So main would be the calling function, and when I call this function, I will pass those two integer values as argument. So a and b are called formal parameters. What I am going to do is x is equal to a and y is equal to b. So I am storing the value whichever is passed to a in x and b to y. Okay. Then I will say cout x is equal to whatever is the value of x. Next is endl. Then cout whatever y and whatever is the value of y and endl. So this completes my function. I have a function called show, to which I am passing two values a and b are the arguments, that is the formal parameters, and what I am doing it, x and y are class variables. So I am storing the value of a in x and value of b in y, and I am just printing it. Like x is printed first and then the value of x, same way y is printed first and then the value of y. Since endl is there, they will be printed one below the other. Have a look. Hopefully you have understood this. So we have three functions, one is input, one is display and one is show. So don't get confused in any one of these. Now I will write my main function. How do I write it? So void main, then I will say, since I need to pass two values, I need to take in those two values, int p comma q. So p and q are two integer values. After that I will say cout enter two integers. C in P, C in P and Q. I am taking in, I am asking the user to enter two integers and I am taking those values in P and Q, and P and Q I have declared it as integers in main. Hopefully you are clear with this. I am doing what? I am declaring two integer variables. I am asking the user to enter two integers and I am taking in the value of P and Q. After that I need to create a object. Without creating, memory will not be allocated to the class. So I will say print P1, P2, P3. I will have three objects, P1, P2 and P3. Now suppose if I say P1 dot show of P comma Q. This is one function called P1, P2 dot input, P3 dot input, P2 dot display and P3 dot display. So what is I am doing here? This is my main. We'll go through line by line here. What is this? Int P and Q. So I am creating two integer variables P and Q. Then I am asking the user to enter two values and I am taking that in P and Q. In this statement, print is the name of the class and I am creating three objects to the class, that is P1, P2 and P3. After that I am calling the function P1 dot Q. For example, if I enter P is equal to 1, Q is equal to 2. So when I call this function, these are called actual parameters. That is, the parameters in the calling function is the actual parameters. In the function header is the formal parameters. Then I have also told you the name, that is, what was the formal parameters there? It was A and B. And what is it here? P and Q. The name need not batch, but how many parameters were there? 2 parameters, intendant. Here also I am passing 2 parameters, intendant, in the same order, same number of parameters and same data type of parameters. So the name of the actual parameter and the formal parameter need not be same, but the data type, the number and the order should be same. So I am passing P and Q. For example, as a user, I imagine I have entered P is equal to 1 and Q is equal to 2. After that, I am calling the function input using the object P2. So with P2. When I call input, what is input function doing? It is asking me to enter the value of x and y. So x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20. This is the value I have entered. Next is P3 dot input. Using the object P3 also I am calling the same function. So with P3, what am I calling? The same function, input function. Again, it will ask you to enter 2 values for x and y, and suppose with P3 I enter x is equal to 40 and y is equal to 50. Clear now? With P1 I am passing this values P and Q 1 and 2, and 1 gets substituted to x and 2 gets substituted to y. After that, with P2 I am calling the input function. In the input function, what am I doing? I am asking the user to enter 2 values and I am storing it in x and y. For example, as a user with P2 objects, when I call input, I will store x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 20. Again in this line, I am calling the same function with a different object. Like with P3, I am calling the same function. So when I call the same function with P3, I will store x is equal to 40 and y is equal to 50. Okay. So when I call this function, what happens? It would have stored that value, and in that function only, if you remember, we had the output statements also. So it will print me x is equal to 1 and y is equal to, so output x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 2. This is with P1 object. Okay, because in show it will say x is equal to a and y is equal to b. So value of q gets p gets substituted in a and then into x, the value of q to y, b to y. So I will say x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2 would be printed. After that, I have P2 dot display. So I am calling the display function using the object P2. So what was the value entered when I take in the values? X was 10, y was 20 using P2. So it will print me x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20, because these were the values I entered using the P2 object. Then I am calling the same display function using P3. So using P3, what were the values I entered? 40 and 50. So I will say x is equal to 40 and y is equal to 50. This would be the output of the program. So what does it mean? It means that the object dot that function, if you have 10 different objects, then you can store 10 different values for the same set of variables. You can have a look. So once you understand this, then we can do how to pass the objects to a function. passing objects as function arguments. Objects can be passed to any function as arguments in just the same way as any other data type is passed. So, what did we pass? We passed integer values. The same way you can pass an object also. Declare the function's parameter as class type and use an object of that class as an argument when calling the function. So, if I have to say integer, if I am passing an integer, okay, so how will I do? Int. I will say int. But if I have to pass a object, for example, the last program only you take, if I want to pass an object of the class print to show, so how will I do? Show does not return any value, so I will say I will pass it as, what was the name of the class? It's like this. This is the function declaration where I say I am going to pass an object, the name of the function is show and it is not going to return any value. That is what it means. Use an object class as an argument. Print was a class there. It has to be passed as an argument because class is a user defined data type. So, I can have it here. Okay. So, objects can also be passed same way as you pass other variables, and other variables, how do I say? Int, char, float, like that I can directly say. Here I have to write the name of the function which whose object I am going to pass. So, this is the thing. Now, we'll go through this. This is like you need to description of a program wherein you need to write the program based on this. What is the first one? Define a class called exam. So, the name of the class should be exam, which has the following data members. So, what is it saying? That you have to create a class. A class should be created and the name of the class should be exam. Then after that you should have data members or the variables as physics, chemistry and mathematics. So, name of the class is exam. After that I have to create data members as physics, chemistry and math. Okay. After that they are giving the description of the member functions, that is read marks, wherein this function, what does the function do? It will take the values of the physics, chemistry and math mark scored. It will not do anything, it will just ask the user to enter the marks scored in physics, in chemistry and mathematics, and you are going to take in those marks. Then after that you are going to display that marks. So, taking in display, you must be familiar and thorough by this time. This one, like, then you have to calculate the total marks. Okay. What are the exams a student would take? I would say the student would have taken your PUC exam and CET exam. So, total marks of PUC and CET entrance examination in each subject. That is, I have to create two objects. With object 1, I will take in the values of PUC. With object 2, that is CET, I will take in the values of physics, chemistry, math. And after that, I have to add the marks taken by both the objects of PUC and CET. This is the procedure I need to do. So, just go through this, then we will write the class and then we will write how actually it would work. The name of the class is exam and data members are physics, chemistry, math, and what will it hold? It will hold the marks scored by the students, and then I have member functions which has to be declared in the public section. What are those? Read marks, which will read the marks the student the student would have taken in physics, chemistry and math. Then I need to display that information. After that, I need to calculate the total marks scored by the student in PUC and CET subject wise. That is the PUC physics marks plus CET physics marks, PUC chemistry marks plus CET chemistry marks, and the last one is PUC math mark plus CET maths. Now we will write the class description for the same. So what was the name of the class? The name of the class was exam. So I will say class exam. Then in private, what were the data members they want? They want marks of physics, chemistry and math stored. So I will say float physics, chemistry and mathematics. Now data members are done. Member functions. Public, what was that? Void read marks. Read marks will read the marks scored in PCM. Next is void display info. Which will display me the marks scored by the student in this, and then you have to find the total of those marks. So how do I do that? Void only, I will not return anything, but I am passing two objects. Okay, I will pass two objects to it, exam and exam. Why am I writing it here exam and exam? Because name of the class is exam. So I will pass two objects as the argument to it. So this is what they expect to write in the question. According to the question, this should be the class description. Have a look and then we will write the code for it in tomorrow's class. Today's class we did arrays as a part of the class, and then the size of operator, creating a student database by array of objects, and then passing arguments. We took an example how we pass a normal like integer argument, what are formal parameters, what are actual parameters, and then we also did if we have different objects and call in the same function using the different objects and enter different values. So the different values would be stored in those objects. We saw the output and we got that conclusion. Then we read one program according to the description. This is the class. Next class we will write the program accordingly, which will take in the values of CET exam PCM marks and PUC exam PCM marks and calculate the total, and total is a function which is not going to return any value, but I am going to pass two class objects, that is two objects of the class exam to it. Fine, just go through this. Now the homework question. Define a class clock that has hours and minutes as private data members. Define member functions, like you can give whatever name you want, but give a relevant name to take in the values and display the time. And then you need to write the hours, like you need to convert the hours to minutes and write the time in minutes, that is hours and minutes to minutes. This is your homework program. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.